Sicilian weddings are epic. Think dramatic coastlines, incredible venues, authentic Sicilian food in abundance. If you're thinking of a Sicilian wedding, I have got so much information that I need to share with you. If you're coming from overseas and having a destination wedding in Sicily, there is a lot to consider. I'm going to break down all the things you need to know in this short video. Ciao, I'm Lucy, and for the last decade I've been planning Italian weddings, and I've been working so much in Sicily recently. Me and my team at La Lista really wanted to share with you our Sicily edit. It is full of vendors and venues that we trust in Sicily, and there's some special articles as well that explain how things work. I created La Lista so that I could share information with people just like you planning their Italian wedding, so you don't have to go it alone and you can have the very best time planning your Italian wedding. The first rule to creating an incredible destination wedding is putting your guests at the heart of it. I know everybody says that it's your wedding and that it should go your way, but if you don't put your guests first, then you're going to have a pretty low vibe wedding. Imagine making guests trek 3 or 4 hours across a tricky destination just to get to their hotel, and then the hotel's rubbish. You really need to think about the logistics when you're planning your destination wedding. So in Sicily, you've got to think about the geography. There's 2 key airports. If we think north, we've got Palermo, and around Palermo, you've got 10 to 15 incredible venues. Thinking coastlines, mountains, absolutely stunning part of Sicily. Then you've got Catania on the eastern side. Over here, you've got another kind of hub of wedding venues. 1 hour to 2 hours around Catania. You've got, again, coastlines, mountains, even an active volcano. Absolutely beautiful. You've also got incredible little towns and cities like Noto or Tiggia. Really, really Sicilian and authentic. Incredible places for your guests to explore. So thinking about that geography, you've got to work out where your guests are going to fly into and in what circumference of that airport are you going to have your venue. Sicily isn't the easiest to get around. There are not major highways. The highways are dual carriageways. So you've got to think about how easy their travel is going to be, how long they're going to have traveled for, and how far you're going to make them travel when they land in Sicily. Then you've got to think about the activities that you're going to be able to offer your guests and enjoy for your wedding. Are you going to want to be near the beach? Are you going to want to be near the mountains? Are you going to hike up the volcano? What is right for you and your guests and the vibe of your wedding? Are your guests really going to have time to explore, or are they just going to want to pop to a really beautiful city on the morning of your wedding just to see a bit more of Sicily? Are your guests thinking about making a big trip of it? Are lots of them going to be there for a week or 2 weeks? Do you need to factor that into your plans? I think it's really hard to grasp how simple some of Sicily can be. It's so beautiful and some of it is so isolated. A lot of the wedding venues are in quiet towns. They're in the countryside or they're on the outskirts of a major city. You can't access a lot from them. You can't just pop to a supermarket. You can't just pop to a town. One of the most popular venues, La Tonara di Scopello, which is near Palermo, the actual town of Scopello has just a few cafes, just a few restaurants, and just a few hotels. Now, with just a few hotels, you're going to come up against the problem of whether the quality of the hotels and the amount of space in the hotels is going to work for your guests. I've come up against this problem in Scopello where couples really want a certain experience, but they've got 1 or 2 venue locations to choose from for their welcome event. They've only got 3 hotels to choose from for where their guests can stay to make the logistics work. And some of the hotels aren't to the standard that some of the guests would normally stay at. So you've really got to do your research and make sure that you line all of these things up before you book your venue. I'd really like to say at this point how special Sicily is. Now, I know I'm talking about the quality of hotels, I'm talking about how kind of challenging some of the logistics can be, but that is the charm of Sicily. That is why you're having a Sicilian wedding. And if you're not into it for some of these charms, some of these challenges, then you probably just shouldn't have a Sicilian wedding. It's not going to be simple. It's not going to be the kind of normal, simple trip that some of your guests might be used to taking. But that's where the charm is, and that's where the authenticity of Sicily really shines through and gives your guests and yourselves the most incredible experience of your lives. Sicilian weddings really are some of the best in Italy, and it's partly down to the venues. You have such a variation of the type of venue that you can have. You've got grand, absolutely beautiful castles. Some of them have got the most amazing Baroque interiors. You've got incredible seafront locations, tonaras all across Sicily, right on the seafront, castles right on the seafront. It's incredible. And because the coastline is cliffs and it's really jagged and rugged, it just gives this incredible dramatic feeling. And then you've got epic grand villas, often in the center of a city. Again, super beautiful, really amazing frontages, absolutely gorgeous manicured gardens, beautiful for an aperitivo, for your wedding photos. Sicily has got such a gorgeous range of venue types. And then let's just touch on the culture, because that is what makes a Sicilian wedding. So you've got this backdrop of Sicily. You've got this slightly challenging, really authentic, kind of going back in time traveling experience that just keeps things so pure and real. Then you've got the most incredible dramatic landscapes, incredible gorgeous venues, and on top of that you've got the culture. So you've got the food. The food hasn't changed, and it won't change for you and your wedding. They know how to cook in Sicily, they know how to eat, and they are going to spoil you with your wedding food. Take it in, use the food that they give you. It is so delicious, so authentic to the land. Then you've got the style. Sicily just shouts vibrancy and joy, and it is such an amazing backdrop for a celebration like your wedding. Then you've got the entertainment. You've got the authentic music, dancing. Bring all of that into your wedding in some way and let your guests experience it. And then you've got the people. The people of Sicily are so kind, so generous. They are some of the kindest people I've ever met in the world. I just love going back to Sicily just to see and feel how it feels to be around this type of person. They really care about your wedding, and they're going to do everything they can to give you an incredible wedding experience. I think overall, from planning Sicilian weddings, I just feel like they give you so much abundance, and just such an authentic experience that you can't necessarily still get in other parts of Italy. And that, I think, is why Sicily is having such a boom. But when planning in Sicily, you do need to get on board with a few things. It's not going to be the simple, clear, fast planning experience that you may well want. And if that's not going to suit you, then I just wouldn't go for a Sicilian wedding. You need to be okay with going with the flow. So that comes to planning first. When you are planning, you have to trust your planner. This is not going to go fast. This is not going to go necessarily in a really nice streamlined planning journey. We are waiting on vendors. We are working with people that work in just a different way to we do. There's nothing wrong with that. You have to trust your planner, and you have to be on board with how things are going to go. Do not expect quick replies. Do not expect full communication. Take it as it comes, but trust the people that are supporting you. You're going to have to also get on board with the authenticity of Sicily. Now, what I mean is, you're not going to be able to come in and just have a full wedding exactly how you want it with a ton of personalization. Things are done how they're done there, and it is quite hard to change that. So speaking from experience as a planner, I've planned a lot of weddings in Sicily now, and I know, for example, that changing a menu is simple in some regards, but changing every single aspect of a menu and asking a caterer to design their food in a certain way, to lay things out in a certain way, to present the aperitivo in the kind of really cool styling that you see all over Instagram, that is a major challenge, and it shouldn't be expected that that's going to be possible for your wedding. If that's what you want, this kind of massive personalization, you are going to have to give your planner, give your vendors a heads up at the start, because that's going to be quite challenging for them to make changes to how they work, and it's also going to cost you. You also need to accept that vendor options are going to be limited. In those pockets of Sicily that I've mentioned, there are only a number of caterers that are going to be used to working on foreign weddings, and those are the types of caterers that you want. For example, around Palermo, there's only 2 or 3 that I actually really rate, so you're not going to have an abundance of choice. I think that's a good thing. I think it's really good to just hone straight in on what's good and what's not, and reduce your options, reduce your overwhelm. We've done all this for you on La Lista in the Sicily edit. You will see the vendors that we know work well for destination weddings. We can completely trust them. You should check them out. A lot of couples do fly in vendors though. So typically for some of the music, maybe DJs, hair and makeup, sometimes photographers, videographers, these are the type of vendors that can get flown in. And this is all just down to personal choice. There are lots and lots of incredible suppliers in Sicily. It just comes down to really getting to know what you want as a couple and finding the right option for you. Finally, I'm just going to run you down how a classic Sicilian wedding will work, and you can see if this is going to be right for you. So firstly, you'd have welcome drinks. Guests would arrive pre-ceremony, have a little drink in the beautiful setting before they're waiting for your ceremony. Then you'd have your ceremony, civil wedding, symbolic wedding, however you want to play it, typically half an hour, or you could go to a church. That's a bit harder to arrange, obviously requires more logistics with transport. That can be more like an hour long. Then you have your aperitivo, which typically lasts an hour and a half, food and drink, really nice chilled part of the day. And then we move to dinner, where you typically have 2 primi, so 2 first courses, a secondo, and then a wedding cake. You can mix this up. In Sicily, they typically actually have more courses at their wedding, but this is how we tend to see destination weddings work. After the cake, you move to the party, and this can go on as long as you like. Typically, you have a different bar company that service the bar there at the party, and then we wrap it up. If you're thinking about the timings of the day, you've got to consider the heat in Sicily. It gets really bloody hot, and there is no point having an earlier ceremony. It's just going to make your guests suffer. So again, if you're not on board with that, Sicily might not be the place for you. Two final things to consider. Firstly is the support that you're going to have. Planning a Sicilian wedding, as a planner that has been doing it for 10 years, is not easy, and you need a local expert. You need someone with knowledge and experience that has done it before. So if you're bringing in a destination wedding planner, if you're bringing in someone from overseas that has not worked in Sicily before, my God, it's going to be a challenge for them. I would hugely consider bringing in someone that is either local to Sicily or has definitely worked there a number of times. Local connections are absolutely key to making it work. And finally, budget. You need to know how much this is going to cost. So on the most part, traveling to Sicily is going to cost your guests a considerable amount. Most of the time, there's going to need to be connections coming in from Rome and across, unless you're coming in from Europe. So think about that for your guests. For yourselves, you're going to have to budget at least €1,500 per guest for this wedding. Everyone's going to be shocked by that, and there's going to be a group of people that are saying, no, you can do it for less. You can't. You just cannot. If you want to have 3 days of events and everything that you'd normally have at a wedding, you may be told that you can do it cheaper, but in the end, you are going to end up spending at least that figure. So you may as well be prepared from the start. Most weddings that I've worked on in Sicily have a budget of more than €2,000 per guest. If you're going to go under that, then you're going to be compromising somewhere. So Sicily, if you want an experience that's just going to be genuinely a once in a lifetime moment for your guests, where they're going to get a truly authentic traveling experience, really get to know the culture, have the most immersive wedding that you can possibly have, then choose Sicily. But you've got to be in it for all its quirks. You've got to go with the flow. You've got to completely trust the planning team that you're working with and be on board with having a fewer number of vendors to choose from. But believe me, the Sicilian weddings that I've planned are some of the best I've planned in my whole career. I'm absolutely in love with Sicily, and I think you will be too. For more on Sicily, head to our Sicily edit, where we've selected vendors and venues that we 100% know you can trust with your wedding planning. And for more in-depth planning advice just like this, head to my club on lalista.com. I'll show you how to plan a Sicilian wedding. I'll give you even more vendors to think about, and I'll help you avoid all of those pitfalls. We'll create something magic together.